This is reading from Whispered Maturity by Ananda, entitled, Flood Me with thy omnipresent love. O fountain of love, flood the lowlands, our love for home and family, with thy omnipresent love. O mighty source of all our rivers of desires, teach us not to cut ourselves off from thee, hunting on dry sands of things that attract thee. Love is our soul's birthright. We demand now that all the rivers of our cravings be redirected through valleys of humility, either self-sacrifice and concern for others until, reinforced by thy torrential blessing, they merge in the ocean of all fulfillment and being. Bless us that the rivulets of our sympathy, affection, and love lose not themselves in the sands of dreary selfishness. Let the little, lonely, separately moving streamlets of our love, which come from thee, merge at last in the vastness of thy perfect love. And from the path by Swami Ananda, this is drawn from the chapter, The Way in the Ocean. This is towards Yogananda's last years, about 6 months before he passed. And he was working out in his body as saints commonly do just before their passing, and at other times too, karma on their own bodies. Even at the height of his illness, he could still walk when he had to, though sometimes with divine assistance. In August 1951, he was scheduled to speak before a large convocation of members on the former tennis courts at Mount Washington. Unwilling to publicize his condition, which he viewed as a sacred offering to his disciples for their spiritual growth, he determined to walk in a tiny cave. The car took him as far as the edge of the court. Someone opened the doors, and Master used his own hands to lift his hands and place his feet on the ground. Instantly, a brilliant light surrounded my body. He told us later. I was able to walk with ease. We saw him go up onto the lecture platform, stand through his long lecture, then walk back unaided to the car. Once back in the car, he told us, my leg became helpless again. Someone later told me, as he walked, I noticed his feet were touching the ground. Carry my body, Master laughed one day as we bore him up a flight of stairs, and I'll carry your soul. There's many advantages, of course, of being in India. I need to tell you that I like to tease that. I would imagine all of you were born here, perhaps not, but I think so. And Rome and I and others had to swim across. Now it's a long swim to get here. Of course, very, very worth our while. Because there's truly this vibration that's here, welcome, is so strong. And we find that whether it's meditation that calls us, hopefully on a daily basis, instead of take a few minutes to reconnect, to drink in that reality, that joy that is there. Temple, of course, here in India abounds. It calls us and pulls on us to come and be in that vibration, because these temples, they meditate for us. You can feel their vibration pulling us from afar. Every time I turn around, people are going off to Babaji's cave. We have our own Babaji's cave here, right around the corner, and we love it. And it has a wonderful vibration. Babaji's cave. It's up the street, and the power of these shrines, including that sacred cave, can really, and really does change our lives. That's the power of, again, Mother India, the guru of the world. In a couple of years, we were just dedicating two temples, both in Pune and in Chennai. Never heard of such a thing in the same month. It was, really a wonderful affair. And of course, we took all of the lessons spirit. And it's because there is a great need to, the shadow glorifies the light. And with all the wars and so on going on, it's just unfathomable. As a matter of fact, if you know of these visitations of Divine Mother, well worth looking throughout the world, but especially in Arpandal in Spain, Fatima, the turn of the century, and often these visitations are children. Medjugorje is another. You feel great. Here that this trouble that I am having is going away from the cough. Medjugorje, Divine Mother said that for a time, doctor said for a time, Satan had been unleashed. And boy, when you read the news, don't read it too often unless you are going in with strength and power, because otherwise, newspapers are told by negative news. It's not, oh, this wonderful thing happened over here and this and that, and everybody is, saying, wait a minute, let's get to the good stuff. Where's the spice? Newspapers, television, and so on. There's so much there now for them to broadcast. It's sad. But God knows everything, including the Maya. It's a head scratcher, but it's true. And when we wake up in the stream, we'll find the stream. The Divine Mother includes everything. And that's why, again, as we shared many times, we'll continue to, as Master did, the illustration of the movies. And when the disciples, we take to the movies from time to time for entertainment, it'd be totally engrossed. We tap on their shoulders. And they say, look back at the beam. That is what's is happening in this world. This whole experience is a dream. But nevertheless, there are some dreams. And we know from our own lives, our hardships and tests and challenges, that sometimes a dream becomes very. It's hard to shake ourselves out, whatever it might be. It might be there. And it can last for a while if we don't look out. And that's why meditation is so important, because every time we meditate, every time we serve, have satsangs we're doing today, that pull that our karma has on us. What's the trouble? The trouble's karma. And what did Lahiri Mahashaya, the astonishing the true statement, say about Kriya Yoga? Kriya Yoga can solve every single problem you have. Something to look into. And if for Kriya Yoga is already something to continue to deepen and to strive for it, every meditation I would recommend to be deepen. That's a very powerful. Why? Because why does why does Master, I should say, devote a whole chapter in the autobiography of the yogi, a spiritual classic on Kriya? Because and so effective. And we're so lucky to have it, because Babaji didn't want to give it. As we read in the autobiography of the yogi, because it's still a dark age. We think it's Tripara Yoga, and indeed it is. The age of energy, but it's Kali Yuga holding on. Check the news. Bet it is. It's holding on with all its might. The darkest age. And it does not want to give up. Right. And so Babaji, thanking the Lahiri Mahashaya, Lahiri Mahashaya convinced Babaji, please. And Babaji says, no. People are not going to appreciate the subtle phenomenon. There's so many saints that are waiting to be awakened. And Kriya is so effective because what's the problem? What is the problem? The problem is karma. Where's the karma? Inside our own self. That's why it's so important to take responsibility for one's life. To keep one's mind right and one's heart open. And so what are we doing? The harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. Who is willing to do the work? It's 2 days. So important. If you're not a meditator, then meditate. We always bargain 2 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. We keep it regular. You will find that regularity will keep you doing. And of course, it's doing it. It's everything. And so the karma is inside. Do the pranayama, meditation. Every time you're here, pointing your eyebrows, burning up karma, you're burning up this hold on, this paralysis to keep them from enjoying our own. Maybe I should just talk through this, and you cough through the talk, and maybe you can get tested last night. What was it saying? You won't do that for your audience. So just talk about it. Didn't think of cough. Nevertheless, as we tune in to the basics of saying, the basics of meditation and so forth, we find we become clearer, and that becomes very attractive because there isn't anyone on this planet, even those that are steeped in shadow, doing all kinds of problems. They too, very excited, of course, but they too are looking for that freedom. They're looking for that joy. Of course they are, because that's who we are. There's no one in this earth that is not a child of God, even though they may be doing many wicked things. There will come time when they will wake up like Saul. Saul was crucifying the Christians. Who did he become? St. Paul. He had a real wake-up call, didn't he? Christ visited him and said, "What are you doing? What are you doing to me?" Because these great saints are omnipresent. What are you doing? And that awakened Saul, and he became this great apostle and spread the message of Christ everywhere. And so that's what we want to do. It's a forward shift in our consciousness. We're this far away because of what we have done to evolve to this point. We haven't been alive. Really, really challenging for everyone who finally found the solution. The solution is to go to God. And we have found that. It's a matter. Thanking God. Thanking God for the privilege of having sufficient awakening. That's why we like to call ourselves half-baked saints. That's pretty good. Ask any baker. The bread's half-baked. There was a lot of effort that went into that process. Now the bread's almost ready to come out of the oven. We're almost done. So as I was saying earlier, you know what I should really have? I don't know if you've ever seen this. I've never seen it in India. This would be ridiculous, but nevertheless, I'll share it anyway. In America, you'll see, especially during hot days, and maybe there's a bicycle race going on. And you'll see people, they have 2 tin cans, unfortunately, usually here. And then the straw. And then they're riding their bike. And my wife would kill me if I hear this. It would kill me worse if I actually, pulled one of these things out. I don't have. So instead, this is more primitive as far as those guys are concerned. You got 2 hands on the handlebars. You can't go and grab a mother. You need the 2 hands. These bodies, very, very important, but nevertheless, time. So, as I was mentioning earlier, there are those times when or a friend called Bolton, call me, call me, need you. There's many, many ways to come and touches our heart and asks us, because we're always that I like to share, it doesn't matter who's happening. So anybody that has this much attunement, they'll say, oh, please, if you could do this or that, we need that call. Well, the call for me has been to read the book. I highly recommend it, God Alone, by Yogananda's most advanced disciple, Yanamata. And in this life, she had an amazing. In this life, she came in as a full-blown saint. Why? Because 400 years earlier, she was Saint Teresa of Avila. She had Nirvikalpa Samadhi in that life. But when these great saints come in, it's very common that they will search the cosmos. I'm about ready to incarnate. Who wants to come with me? I need help. I can't do it all myself. Even Swami said, I need help. I can't do all of this by myself. Building Ananda, doing all that he was able to do in his extremely productive life. That's where we all come. And that's why Master said to Swami, I will give you the strength. And he said at one point, you were the strength that Master promised. And it wasn't just to that crowd there at the Ananda village, it's to all of us. It's Master's worldwide family. We are the strength. And so, no doubt, I don't know, but no doubt Yogananda called on Yanamata, Rajasiddhanakananda, the most advanced disciple of Swami and others. I'm coming on down now, and we're going to stir things up. Kali Yuga is holding back, and with all its might, and the Maya is being unleashed, we need to really come in and pour on light. And I think we'll do. Free Yoga would be there, available in time for everything throughout this world. And the autobiography will be already 6.6. It's still the most well-read autobiography, spiritual autobiography of all times. And so, in reading Yanamata's book, she came in with Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That's what we should strive for, and Swami has said. Go after Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This life, he would not say that if he was giving us something, a goal that was so far out of our reach that we would say with frustration, come on. Just say, go after some good thoughts. Good enough for this life. Build up some momentum for the next. He did not say that because this is not normal path. We have all that's necessary, especially with Guru, both Kriya, with one another, to go after the heights and reach the heights, and it's permanent. Permanent. You don't have to live this life of broken inspiration. That's our life now. Or any inspiration, though it comes and goes. What do we want? We want the experience of the saints, unbroken inspiration. That's Nirvikalpa. That's freedom. That's blissful omnipresence that we have for each other. And that's our life. And so, not Teresa of Avila, the incarnation, Yanamata, who passed in 1951, and Master said when she left, it was only about 4 months later he passed. And he said, well, she said, now she's gone. My time. And it was. That's how close they were. She was so in tune with Yogananda. The disciples would see them together in close proximity. Yogananda would be maybe feeding the fish in Encinitas, that beautiful hermitage by the Pacific Ocean. And Yanamata would always be at this. And yet, the disciples that were doomed, and there were many, would see that they were communing, and indeed they were. They didn't need words. They were in perfect attunement. As Yogananda said, it's all I have to do is think a thought, and I get a letter from Yanamata. That book, God Alone, is the handbook for this. It's a handbook for those who want to go inside and learn what it's about. Right attitude, devotion, guru disciple relationship. She comes along in these incredible letters to fellow disciples, to himself and others. And she speaks so plainly. Mata, mother of wisdom, such wisdom. And so I've been drinking and drinking of that book. And Master, incredible, I haven't heard this before. This one. But he knew that, and she was trying to liberate this life. That means no karma. Nirvikalpa Samadhi means you're done with all the karma in this play, and you're in God. And so at that point, you really don't care, as Yogananda said, about your astral and causal karma. You're in bliss. You can go to Samadhi. But there's still a ways to go. And so the striving at one point for that soul would reach the heights of finishing off all material karma. They come down only here to help the physical plane. Mata appears. Needs still to work out her astral karma, astral and causal karma, I guess. But more than that, it was to help others work out their karma in her body. And so Yogananda kept her in her body for 20 years. And there were times when he was a bit rebellious and wanted to leave. And yet she knew that this was her way. As we were reading Yogananda working out karma in his own body for 20 years. And yet she served. She did all kinds of things to help his life. He was. And when Yogananda gave the service after her passing, it was so wonderful because he knew what she had done for others by that sacrifice. And it's good to read from time to time the stories of the saints, because then when we think of our sacrifice, you mean I have to get up for work again? I just got up for work yesterday. What is this? God's a tyrant. I need more time off. But I know I just was on vacation. But it rained. So we read the incredible sacrifice of the saints and we think, this is doable with joy. I remember a large project I was working on many years ago. I was getting a little bogged down. And I needed some inspiration. So finally the thought came to me, this is doable with joy. And I've never forgotten it. Because really, when we think of it every single day, that joy, that's the lubricant. That's the fruit of meditation, that joy. That's why we spend time with saints. They're a thought away. They're locked in our own hearts. We have access anytime we want. Our only problem is that Yogananda said, if you shut me out, how can I come in? All of these things are accessible. And we can call them and say, I need you. And they will say, of course. I was waiting because they know, because they experienced when they were also running around in this dream, not knowing who they were, where they were. And so I've been enjoying this incredible book. And also, if you have second book, giving you a book report today, it's The Saints That Move the World. This was the book that we got off of Swami's shelf years ago in California. And it was hard to return the book, but we did. And this is a book of 5 saints, the saints that move the world. The author, advanced soul as far as I'm concerned, because the way that he writes of these saints is so pure. And so, as I read it, Saint Teresa of Avila, the previous incarnation before she became Mata, and what a life she had. During the Inquisition, and she was always in Samadhi. No one could understand. They thought she was a witch. It was absolutely amazing. And yet, these saints, they just see us all as children. They're the adults. And they understand when we're doing all these crazy thing. You know, if you go to YouTube and see the children in ecstasy from Garbandal in Spain, you see their faces. My God, how could one not think that this was anything other than super conscious experience they're having? But what were they doing? Shining lights in their eyes, all these experiments by all these people. Is this real? And what are you talking about? You want to do a scientific experiment on these children that are pulling off during this particular period, which has lasted years, these extraordinary things, running in the dark backwards at breakneck speed. No one can follow in ecstasy. You want to see if that's really a true experience? That's how crazy this world is. And yet, as Ananda Ma says, and it's something I recall from mind, especially during these times, when the side came up, we were very concerned about the world situation. He passed in the early 80s, going on for a while, hasn't it? All this turmoil. And the disciple was concerned about the condition of the world. And she said, don't you think the one who created this world knows how to maintain it? But we have to kind of think, squint our eyes. That's why I love the Harry Mahashaya for the reason, you know, this is how we should be. You know, I don't think we'd want to walk around like this because I don't think Ananda went there once and looking around, you know, with squinting eyes, not speaking that obviously, but internally, that image is a good one. Mentioned breaking vibration, good saying, in that we are in this world, but we're not of it. With that growing faith in my mind, how could perfection be otherwise? And so, this experience that we're having is nothing compared to what it was like when we had what it was. We need to be meditating for ourselves, for meditating for everyone. We're not just, you know, serving to do a little something. Same as meditation too. We're doing it to expand and bring more light into this world. And so, what we can do now, and we can take the example of the forest fire of 76, that nearly burned down all of it on the village. What did Swami do? And I was so new at the time. Pretty new. He's touring the entire country now with a band of people from Ananda. Shouldn't we be rebuilding the community? We were actually doing both simultaneously. In my head, that reaction he had, that when hammered by this tent, his natural reaction was to expand and break to the right, to be positive. And Ananda's always done that, as he's doing this to this day. That's why going to both the Buddha and Chennai, and those of you that came in spirit, was so sweet. Because all hell's breaking loose in this world, and what are we doing? We're dedicating temple. You know, these guys grounded. I mean, what is this? Well, it is. It doesn't mean for a moment that lacking for what's going on in this world. It's our own self, the spirit, in many forms. As we meditate, we're realizing that more and more. What are we doing? Through prayers, through dedicating temple. That's our job. Our job. We have karma. What's the dharma? You get your dharma, you do it from the karma. The net result of that is freedom. It's not doing a good thing. Good things is good things. Start, but you want to do more. Because we all come in with karma that will be released by you and takes a position for the meditation. You find out what are useful. Find out, we know that, but specifically what are useful. And it's like what we're learning. And of course, we need more joy, more love, all of these spiritual qualities we need to be instruments for. There's things to do, understandable, or whatever it might be. Like struggle. Thank you for being so patient, both with, making it's positive, oh my God. Better not what am I doing, shaking my knee, where is she? And then coughing throughout. But patience is a shortcut to finding God, and so he calls it patience. I appreciate that. Okay, now for further patience, we're going to stand and do our arati and sing it a cappella. Okay, so a number of you know that. And so we'll sing a cappella, and then, Senor, if you will come up and then play Om Maravu blessing, that would be good. And then we'll cover both bases. Okay, you know where the machine is, right? Yeah, it's pretty handy to have the apparatus. So let's stand.